You mentioned something that reminded me in retrospect that during our lifetime of marriage, that God, something like Moses, he conditioned us with different trials because you never know what's going to happen in the future. So he, in my case, at least he conditioned us for the different things that happened, because if some of the things that would have happened at the very beginning might have been very devastating to us, so that I found myself on several occasions on my knees where I wanted to get through to God, to make sure he really understood what my problem was. And I don't know if you ever faced a situation where you said, Lord, I need you. Which reminds me, the last time I was at Fatima, the message Our Lady left was, as she was going away, she said, if you need me, just call. So I always remember now, if I need help, I just call and they come. So yes, I think our Lord does prepare us for the different trials. If you have a large family, whatever it is, accidents or sickness or whatever, something like that. The next question I would like to ask, with large families, finances, economics, how did you manage?
Well, one of the ways that my wife managed, and I think she'd be a good economist for the whole United States, not just, she did a lot of shopping at DAV, the Disabled American Veterans. And she'd go on Mondays, and I'd find out, why are you going on Mondays? She says, well, that's the 10-cent day. Whereas they had a 10-cent bin, and on Mondays you could get anything out of that for 10 cents. Well, one of the things that you learn when you have a large family is you have to learn to do without certain things. But I think even more importantly, you have to have a sense of what is truly important in life. Unless you have something that you're willing to sacrifice all these things for, you'll never be able to do it. No matter how much you have, you'll never have enough. But if you recognize there's something that transcends these daily cares of eating, drinking, clothing, and so on, then you can do anything. That means if you have God, if you have the eternal destiny of your children in mind, if you have in mind that they need to be more than what God gave you, in other words, their life is yet to be finished and perfected, then I think you begin to see that these things are not important. You begin to learn how to do without them. And then you can make your way. You become ingenious. And one of the things that was mentioned earlier, we got a lot of hand-downs. We learned to say thank you. And our children very often better dressed than because we had friends who were doctors and lawyers, probably not self-employed, but they had the things. So you accept things the way you accepted your children from God. And I think that's one of the things you learn in a large family. You learn gratitude. And if you have gratitude, if you know how to receive what is offered to you, then you also know that there are times when you have to work. And one of the things that parents ask my children, we have a liberal arts college, and they ask me, what is my child going to do in life if he goes to a liberal arts college, Christendom? I say, what? Work. That's the answer to it. So you learn how to work, you learn how to receive, and you learn how to ask God for help.
Pat, how about you?
Well, my husband's in the teaching profession, and he really held down several jobs and was doing all kinds of outside things to bring in extra money. I was staying at home and being a working mother inside the home, and then I didn't go back to school until later, and just recently got my doctorate, so that didn't help as far as the finances earlier. But it did seem the help we got, like we got a lot of hand-me-down clothes, and we also set priorities. Education probably was the most important thing to us, and we did without a lot of things, but not complaining. I mean, we were very happy. And in Washington area, there are a lot of freebies that you can go to, take the kids to all kinds of museums and concerts and so forth. And so we were able to manage, and I'm really glad that I was able to be home with the children. That, you know, we could survive and get through. But and also our parents on both sides were also very generous whenever they could be with any kind of financial gifts. So that helped. And sometimes just when you thought, oh, you know, what's going to happen, it would seem like divine providence, and all of a sudden something would appear from somewhere or whatever. So, and then the children also, from very early on, were very good about outside jobs, trying to contribute to the fund and help themselves. And
we found the same thing to be true. That is, the kids jokingly call it the Wilkinson connection, but it's just when one child finds a job, they usually do a very good job. And when the employer needs another person, he says, you know, I've got a brother, I've got a sister that just knows exactly how to do that and can do the better job than anybody else. They don't hesitate to brag upon their siblings. And so the second person goes in, and then the third person goes in, and then one of the other ones graduates and goes someplace else, and another one comes in. So they feed upon each other that way. But I would have to say and have to agree with Damian that the wife is the economizer, and I mean she is just, in my opinion. I mean, I don't keep the checkbook at my house. I don't know about other men, but I don't even. If you ask me today, how much money do we have in the bank? I could go and look, but that's not my concern. I bring it home. I work hard enough to bring it home, and she works to spend it, and that's reasonable enough. I think that's a good division of labor. And
so she handles that aspect of the home then?
She does indeed.
And that's unusual.
Well, it might be, but I find frequently in the professional world that that's absolutely true. And the other thing for me that my wife does is sometimes, because I am a lawyer, I get a little green-eyed at some of the things that other lawyers are able to provide for their families. And you know, periodically she says, wait a minute, we decided a long time ago those weren't the important things. That's not the direction that we're going in. It helps to set me down sometimes just to kind of reevaluate where we're going and what we think is really important.